And we're live. Welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast, Episode 1, Season 2. I'm VP Quinn, and this is our Chief Operations Officer, Josh. Be sure to check us out on all our media... Oh, hi. Be sure to check us out on all our media platforms and social media accounts, from our Facebook page, conveniently titled High Level Games, our Twitter account at HLG_corporate, our YouTube channel, also called High Level Games, and finally our Twitch channel, High_Level_Games, all lowercase.
You can also find the Inclusive Gaming Network on Twitter at inclusive_games and Facebook at facebook.com/Inclusive Gaming Network. You can also check us out on our website, which is www.inclusivegames.com.
Thank you so much. You're probably going to need to speak up. We're having some technical issues, and so Josh is not using his normal rig, and we're going to make do with what we have. We have a Patreon page also, wherein you can support the many blog creators that make stuff for highlevelgames.ca. For only $5 a month, you can get access to our members access area and free content as we release it. That includes a new project for Storyteller's Vault, White Wolf's new digital download store called Things Go Southy. Josh, why don't you tell us about that particular product?
Sure. So Things Go Southy will help you jumpstart your chronicle. These products provide you a single page of story and a couple of important NPCs or other elements to help you get started in a game. This chronicle jumpstart is based in Boston, but it could easily be adjusted to fit in any setting. Things Go Southy is the third of a series of 5 adventures set in and around New England. They can be linked into a larger chronicle, or they can be used individually to jumpstart your Vampire the Masquerade game. Further, Things Go Southy provides some interesting details on the Milliner family of Clan Giovanni, which is something that I am a huge fan of. So, Quinn, let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about the gaming you are doing right now.
So we've actually not been gaming a ton, but over the summer, what I had been doing is I had been playing in a Numenera campaign. I GM'd Numenera for the first time, and I am in love. I just think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The Cypher system, holy cow, it is just great. And we've had some fantastic role-playing with that. We just wrapped that campaign up because we kind of do a summer campaign, and we're planning to start up a new Numenera campaign with a couple of new players, including somebody that's kind of never really role-played before. All he's ever done is I ran a Dread campaign for him once just to show him what it was like. And so we're really excited about that. We're also just about to start our first Savage Rifts campaign.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. And last but not least, I'm in development in streaming on our Twitch stream a Star Trek Adventures game that'll be coming out on Monday nights. And that is, I'm obsessed with it right now. I know Star Trek Discovery is just about to drop, which, some of the information we're getting has made me concerned, but we'll see. And the Star Trek Adventures campaign is very exciting. We have decided on a space frame, so we're going to be playing in an Excelsior class starship, the USS Bonaventure, and that is going to be named after a Canadian aircraft carrier that just came into service just after World War II, because we kind of thought it was like the Canadian Enterprise. Yeah, and so NCC 2835, and we're so excited to play. It's going to be a very interesting crew. We've got a Trill and a Betazoid and a human and an Andorian that are signed up so far. And one person hasn't quite decided yet, so we're just figuring the last pieces of that out. We're hoping to drop it as a actual play podcast as well as a live streamed event. I am all over it. It's going to be set about a year before the Dominion War kicks off. And when we start, we're going to be playing with all of the events that happen in about season 5 of DS9 leading up to the Dominion War, and then finally, if we continue playing for long enough, seeing the Dominion War itself and possibly taking part in some of it. I'm really interested in playing as part of the Dominion War, but I'm hoping to move the characters into parts of the Dominion War we didn't see on screen. So who knows? I know Beta Z falls.
Hmm.
I know the Breen attack Earth at one point. We'll
That
see.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I am a huge Star Trek nerd. I am not the biggest trekker in the house. My wife is a bigger trekker than I am, but definitely a big Star Trek person. And if I could make a Monday night work, I would play in that game in a heartbeat because it sounds amazing.
Well, what's your wife doing?
hmm, hmm, um, hmm. I might mention it to her.
Well, throw it out
You
to
never
her.
know.
We
You never
we
know.
we're just setting up the last pieces right now. We've got a couple of weeks before we get started, but I think it's going to be really exciting. And I love Star Trek so much. I mean, I love Star Wars,
Hmm.
but I love Star Trek. Star Trek is really important to me, and it provided a lot of escapism at a time in my life when I needed escapism.
Yeah.
And I love that it has kind of a very optimistic view of the future, and that's just not anywhere on TV right now.
Right.
And I'm very excited to explore parts of this universe, and especially with Modiphius's new Star Trek Adventures game.
Oh yeah.
Um, it is
The thing.
so good.
So Quinn did an interview. I'm stealing his thunder here. Quinn did an interview that we just put out today on our podcast stream, which you can find on iTunes and other places you get your podcasts. Um, it, it made me excited for this game, and like I said, I'm a Star Trek person in general, but the way the person
Chris
that you were
Birch, yeah.
interviewing, that Chris was, his excitement was coming through the my phone. Like I could feel his passion for the game, and I could hear your excitement for the different ideas that you guys. And you weren't even saying much. He was just passionately like digging in and being like, these are all the cool things that we're talking about in this awesome game. Like that
We could have
alone
talked
made me excited.
all afternoon about that game. I'm certain. We
Yep.
talked about Tales from the Loop, which is amazing. We talked about their new Fallout miniatures game, which is great. And then when we got to Star Trek, both of us just came alive, and I realized I had to cut the interview shorter. We'd be there forever, and there was a
Right.
lineup of people to interview him at that point because Modiphius owned the Ennies this year.
Yep. Yeah, they did
But
a good
but
job.
he loves Star Trek, and you could tell that from everything. And I am of the opinion that a lot of Star Trek role playing games have not been great. They've not
Yep.
been that fun to play. They've had problems in them. They've gotten too crunchy in a world where crunch can kill you in the
Yep.
science fiction role playing game. And this particular one seems to get it. Right. And everything from the way they handle the starship itself as being a separate character almost
Mm-hmm.
to the supporting characters mechanic, where you'll always be part of the action. There's no way that you're going to be stuck on the ship while the away team has all the fun, or stuck on the planet while the ship has all the fun.
Right.
You can
And
always be involved.
that element there was what caught me. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
awesome. That is perfect. Like that's the thing that you're always like, well, we can't have. It doesn't make any sense for all of the bridge crew to go on an away mission. That's
Right.
ridiculous. But oh wait, everyone can still play if you create these other supporting characters that you can live in for a moment and be like, hey, and I love the thing in that interview where Chris is like, it's like you're pulling in Miles O'Brien,
Yeah.
who's this at one point in Next Generation, just this side character who's not really important. I don't think they planned on bringing him in.
They didn't
And then
name him at first.
right, and then he comes in and he becomes a pretty central character in Next Generation and a main character in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Like that's how you go from like, oh, here I am just like this supporting character that I'm playing in this game to, man, I love this supporting character that I'm playing. I want to spend more time on screen with them. I think
Well,
it's
and not only
amazing.
that, you keep these supporting characters, right?
Right.
So they stick around and continue to be developed, and they can become more important characters. Or if somebody dies or transfers off the ship, somebody might need to be, you know, promoted. And now
Right.
you have a new character that's sitting right there. Not only that, if you're worried, because like, oh, I kind of want to play command, but I kind of want to be the ship doctor as well, you can start out as a medical staff and play the lieutenant commander at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. That's not a
Right.
problem.
Which I think is fantastic. Like that feels Trek like,
Yeah.
just in that concept. Um, and I love the role playing potential of that. Like that
Hmm.
offers so much potential that I think a system that doesn't have that built into it isn't going to reflect in the same way.
Right. And not only that, there's a whole bunch of things that hold up Federation ideals. There's a reputation mechanic, and the reputation mechanic is built on how the Federation kind of views you. And
Oh, nice.
so there are some situations where you can pull a Kirk where you did an amazing thing and saved the Federation, but because you lost people under your command and didn't go by orders and broke the Prime Directive, your reputation actually suffers.
Hmm.
And that can have consequences in game.
Which makes
Um,
sense.
makes absolute sense. And I thought of immediately of Kirk being bumped down from Admiral,
Right.
right, for the crime of saving the world. And then I thought there's also a mechanic where you are rewarded in character or in game through the reputation mechanic of non-violently solving situations.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so you can beat somebody in combat, but use stun or maybe like try to use some kind of a technological thing that knocks them out or something, get the tractor beam on them and disable the ship, but don't try to destroy it. The moment you try to engage in lethal combat, the game master actually gets a whole bunch of benefits.
Hmm.
And so, which includes like a threat mechanic and stuff like that, which both mimics lethal combat is lethal, but also it provides an incentive mechanically for you to uphold the values of the Federation, which I'm just like over the
Oh
moon.
yeah.
That's so interesting.
I think that's fantastic because, from a conflict resolution standpoint, if you're wanting to encourage people to find effective nonviolent means of negotiation and resolution of different conflicts
Hmm.
and to uphold the values of the Federation, you have to do that. You have to be
Right,
trying at all times to find a way to get out of a situation that doesn't kill people, that
right.
doesn't cause long-term harm, because that's what the Federation stands for, this dream that people of all species can live in harmony with one another, and even if we're attacked, we do enough to defend ourselves, and that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, the ideal Federation outcome to a battle is somehow to turn that person into an ally.
Right.
Right, that's what they want, to help them, right? And that's interesting to me, right? So anti-murder hobo that that I'm just like, wow, I yes. Now
Yeah.
that being said, we're playing on the eve of the Dominion War, right?
Right.
It's not as though ship combat's not going to happen. It's not as though those cool, epic DS9 last two seasons um, things are not going to happen. It's not as though you're not going to have to deal with a Gemini fighter just trying to kamikaze the saucer section, right?
Sure.
But you're looking for an option. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. Like, it can still be deadly, it still can be gritty, but you're still trying to be the best version of the Federation you can be in that situation.
I
I
love the
I'm so
possibilities
excited.
there. Yeah. From a storytelling perspective, that's deep. You know what I mean? That gives you the potential to really dive into aspects of what does it mean to be humane in a situation of actual like full on war,
Hmm.
where you are authorized to use the force needed to end a situation, but as a society you have become the value that you hold is this idea that that should never be to kill all of the people that you are in
Right.
combat with. It is to stop the threat
Right.
and then go from there and then find other solutions. Stop the
Hmm.
threat, find other solutions, and move forward from that. I think, anyway, yeah, we could probably talk about this all day long.
It is so fascinating. It's so interesting. I'm really excited to see how it plays out, and I'm excited to see what my players take out of it. I mean, at the heart of a Star Trek story is people. They did so many good things with this thing. And I'll tell you, the book itself is gorgeous. It's beautiful to look at. They tell the history of the Federation as an oral history instead of a timeline. So one section might be a Tal Shiar report on the Khitomer battle, right? The Khitomer
Oh,
massacre, and
wow.
the next piece might be a comment from a Commodore at Starfleet Command that discusses the incursion of the Changelings, right? Like,
Mm,
so instead of just being really dry to read through all of the setting material, I was just like riveted.
right. That sounds awesome. That sounds like all the best things that White Wolf did in their really good books, where they were giving you the narrator's view of something and
Hmm.
letting you really like feel like their perception of all of these things. That sounds like that sounds awesome.
So, welcome to the Modiphius Star Trek Adventures podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
You,
what have
you know what I
you
want to
been doing in gaming?
I want to talk about that in a second, but I want to shoot this idea at you. Maybe I should
Okay.
hold this, but I'm not going to because I can't. I would really like to, even if I can't play in the game, record like bits, maybe like as an admiral or another like person for the group, and have them like get messages from people. If you're into that idea, I think that could be a really cool thing.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Um, so what have I been doing gaming wise? Well, I don't. We didn't. We haven't recorded anything since Gen Con.
No.
So we went to Gen Con together,
Yeah.
and we did that. I ran five Vampire the Masquerade Fifth Edition Alpha sessions, which was amazing. Quinn played in one
Yes.
of those,
I played in one of them. I played an
and
awful, awful character, though. Oh, man.
you did, but you set the bar high for that character. I think most people acted in the same way that you did. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but most people took that character in a similar direction. So I was not surprised after seeing the direction you took them in, which was helpful. Um, Beyond that, actually, I haven't been doing a lot of gaming. Um, I am preparing to run a digital LARP, though.
Ooh.
There's a friend of mine, Tara Clapper, who is the creator of the Geek Initiative, which is an organization that is focused on empowering women in geek culture. She has started this LARP that is about humanity going on the first ships to settle a new planet.
Okay.
There is this Proxima endeavor, and we're trying to decolonize our language in speaking about it. So we're using words like endeavor and project and things like that to avoid the term colony and to avoid other terms like that that have a negative connotation.
Hmm.
And the entire game is done over Google Hangouts and broadcast on Twitch. Doesn't have to be broadcast. I'm actually doing a run that is not going to be broadcast, but it is done over Google Hangouts. We will spend 2 hours immersed as our characters. Everything we do will be in character for the 2 hours that we are on video. Um, and what we're doing is talking about going to another planet. We're talking about leaving Earth and what that means to us. We're talking about what it is we're doing to be ready for this journey where we're going to be on a generational ship, and we're never going to see Earth. We're probably not going to see Proxima Endeavor. Our grandchildren might see Proxima Endeavor.
Hmm.
So what are the things that we're looking forward to? What does it mean to us? We're going to go through all that kind of like emotional discussion, and the game is really about considering humanity's place and what you would do if you're on a ship, knowing that that's going to be your life for the next 60 years or so.
Like a lot of Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
One of the things that people have talked about so far is they're like, I would get into art more. I would do a lot more art because why not? Like the
Hmm.
ship runs itself. Why wouldn't I put my time and energy
But
into
isn't
the
there a
things that I
danger
love?
if you focus only on the arts that your grandchildren won't be prepared when they get there?
That's that's the perfect like discussion that's going to happen in this Chariot LARP. It's called Chariot LARP. So anyone that's listening, you can go onto Facebook and look up Chariot LARP, and you will find out about it. And it is awesome. Like really, truly, it is a paid LARP, but there is a lot of built-in things that we've built into the game to make your investment worth it. It's going to go over a month, and you're going to get private time making your character with me, and you're going to get these interactions with everyone else. So I'm running the IOTA run, and there are several other runs that Tara is running. She's running a POC only run and a women only run, as well as several other runs of the game. So lots of cool stuff there.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Gen Con, I mean, I played Predation while I was there. I played Vampire for the first time in 20 years.
And you
Um,
did a great job.
I had a blast. I actually remembered what drew me to that game. I played all out of Bubblegum. I ran at one point, and I ran an evening session of Dread with
Oh,
the
yes,
two
you
of us and the heavy metal GM and one of our other writers, Ben. Yeah, it was,
and
and another one
Jessica,
of our
Jessica
writers,
who writes.
Jessica.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed
Oh man,
that game of Dread.
I'm telling you, Quinn, that was an amazing game.
Well, thank
Like
you.
I have had I've had lots of games, lots of LARP, for example, that I've gotten emotional through, that I've had bleed, that I've really experienced. Like this is what my character's emotion is, and it's coming through. I've only ever had prior to this one instance of tabletop bleed,
Hmm.
which was in a Deadlands game. It was a horror setting, and there was just the right mood in the room that I actually felt scared in,
Right.
like really, really. And dread made me feel like I was worried for my crew.
Right.
I was honestly concerned that they were going to die, and then I died. But but it was awesome. Like that energy that we built up in that room was thick afterwards. It was like
Yeah,
you could
we had to
you could
decompress a
cut
little bit.
it.
There was a couple of
Oh yeah.
people that there was some tear shed, and it was a pretty emotional game. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I really appreciated it, enjoyed it. I mean, like it was a great crew of people that just sold out to what we were trying to accomplish, and it's a lot of fun. I've had it's one of my highlights of Gen Con was playing that Dread game.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% amazing.
Hmm.
I didn't get a chance to play anything else other than Dread and run the games that I ran while I was at Gen Con.
Right.
Um, I was busy. I was doing a lot of interviews, which we've been putting up on our feed, and I ran 5 sessions of Vampire Fifth Edition. Like they were 4 hours each. That's not a small amount of gaming. It was definitely intense.
Right. Yeah, it was so much fun. I had such a blast at Gen Con. And at
Yep.
the museum I got to see the very first D&D red box that I ever owned in the museum. So that made me feel young. Uh,
I got to see some cool, like I got to see a lot of cool stuff. I think the Ars Magica first edition, like the with notes on it,
hmm.
um, as like a precursor to what was going to come with the World of Darkness. That book, like the if I could have held that book, I might not have let it go. So it's a good thing it was
That's
in the
why it was
States.
behind glass.
Yeah, awesome. So
Yeah.
I can actually see our next question. So do you want to
Oh,
like
sure.
check that
Yeah.
out so we can move on to the next stage?
Um, well, let's talk about the vision for this podcast for HLG and the other projects where we are involved in. And you were
Yeah,
supposed to ask me that, actually.
I am. So, Quinn, can you tell us and our listeners a little bit about what you see as the vision of leveling up, and how that fits into the overall vision of high level games?
Sure. Let me answer that in reverse order. High level games for me, I mean, I always joke that it started with me and a buddy of mine, Joel, who we were having too many drinks one night watching Babylon 5, as good nerds do. And we kind of started talking about role playing games, and I said, we should have a podcast. And this whole thing just spiraled wildly out of control after that. Um, since then, it has evolved, and I just looked out across the hobby and I decided that there's so much untapped potential. There are people that want to write about role playing games but don't have a venue. There are people that want to help other writers but don't have a venue. There are people that want to produce gaming products but don't have a venue. There are people that want to podcast but don't have a venue. There are people that are producing podcasts but don't know how to get it to listeners, right? And so what I see high level games as is an online maker's space. It is a place where we can bring together a creative community of awesome gamers, tabletop role playing game gamers is primarily, and give them a venue and give them a space and give them a community to do what they want to do. As part of that, we've launched our podcast affiliate network, as we've been talking about. Nerd Mantle has just joined us, and
Nice.
they are a great group of guys that I'm really excited to bring into the family. We want everybody to come into the community, and we want to do everything as a community to bring what they're doing out of them. If they want to write, we want to give them an editor to help them. If they want to make a podcast, we want to put them in touch with people that might be able to mentor them. If they want to do anything that they're already doing but they don't know how to get it to people, we want to provide some kind of marketing and exposure for them. Honestly, the biggest problem we've run into is we tell people, no, I just want to help you, and they're just like, okay, this guy's trying to rip me off. And I'm just like, I don't know how to say in so many ways, we just want to help. And so we see this as untapped potential, and that's part of the publishing side of high level games, is that everybody knows that dungeon master or game master or storyteller or chronicler that who has amazing ideas and binders full of things that are written up about their ideas, but it will never ever see the light of day. Only 5 people will ever know that this person has all of this brilliance and creativity. And we want to help people to bring that to light, right? We want to provide them with a whole bunch of help to get them up and running, and then maybe we can sell the product for them. And, they make some money in the process, right? And we just have this vision of unlocking that creative potential. As part of that, leveling up has become a thing unto itself. If I have any kind of one skill set, it's building a community. I love bringing people together. I love learning about people. I'm actually interested in what people have to say. Like, I don't have to fake it most of the time. And I want to understand where they're coming from. And I want to I always see connections. I see, Josh is good at this thing. Maybe Sean, the heavy metal GM, they need to get together because they can help each other, right? And I always want to put these groups of people together. And it's about building this community of inclusion. I want to help people be better gamers. And when I say better gamers, leveling up for me means being a better gamer by learning how to be a better game master and being a better player and learning more about how to develop your character chops and planning chops and learning how to integrate awesome ideas into your games. But it's also about being a better human being, literally being a better gamer, being more awesome at the table, being more cognizant of the feelings of people around you, building people up, building up the entire community, and by so doing, being leveled up yourself. I have a vision of leveling up each other, right? I truly believe that if you pour your heart and soul into making everybody else around you better, you'll be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this is about for me in a huge way. Also, I get to hang out with my friend Josh from time to time and talk
Which is
gaming,
nice.
which is pretty awesome.
Wow. I think when I wrote that question, I did not imagine you encapsulating all of that in such a really powerful way. I don't know why I didn't see it, because you've done awesome things like that in the past, but I think that hits so much to the core of what my vision was when I wrote or I recorded a video almost a year and a half ago now, where I was frustrated with the gaming community, with the role playing game community in particular, and I was like, come on, people, let's level up. Like, let's like grab ourselves and say and find the opportunity to be better people, so that by being better people we can run more games, we can play in more games together, we can find opportunities to share our love of this hobby and see it become the amazing experience that we have for everybody. I would love to be able to walk out my door and have one of my random neighbors ask me about my D&D campaign.
Right.
I would love for that to be so normalized that people understand the value of role-playing games, that it's just another part of their lives and of my life with them. So to get to that goal, I think we've had really, really good discussions on leveling up, between Quinn and I, between a couple of guests that we've had. We are planning on having some more guests in season 2, with the goal of knowing that Quinn and I's voices are not the only voices that are important for people to hear. And we want to make sure that we are presenting other viewpoints that help people understand how they can level up. We have a guest next month that I think that has already taught Quinn and I some things, and I think that is going to be really a good discussion. So when we put out the date for that, I think people should definitely tune in live, and for when we get out that podcast for that, because it's going to be awesome.
Yes. Yes, there's going to be lots of guests this season, and we're very excited about that. Because we want to bring in more people in the larger community. And I mean, frankly, what we're doing at Leveling Up and what we're doing at High Level Games is starting to be noticed, I think, in the role-playing game community. And because we're weird and different and we're doing this strange thing over here by ourselves, and we're a bunch of kind of industry outsiders that are just reinventing or trying to reinvent. Like, that sounds a little more grandiose than we really are, but we're trying to reinvent kind of the vision for what this whole thing can be, like viewing the community. People have talked a long time, for years and years and years, about what the community is like and how to mobilize it and how people should act within the community. And a lot of people are doing a lot of cool things at individual tables or in the community to try to do that, but I'm not aware of such a committed vision for making that happen, and that's our reason for getting up and doing this stuff. and people are starting to take notice. I know at Gen Con I was on a panel, and one of the fellow panelists, after he heard about high level games, came up to me immediately and was like, "I whatever you're doing," and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to be name droppy or anything, but he is well known in the community, and he's like, this is something that I've been all about for my whole time in gaming, and I've never heard it articulated that way, and anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Yeah.
And people are just, really taken aback at, oh, so you're just doing that? That's great, right? So it's very exciting to be a part of. Like I said, I wish I could claim to be this like grand visionary that like from the day I thought of, and there goes Josh.
Our grand visionary has just knocked me off the.
Yeah, I wish I could say though the day I thought of high level games, I knew we would be, but no, I didn't. Right? It evolved. These are like nascent ideas that have been more developed as we've been doing our thing, but it's been very exciting to be a part of, and it seems like every month we find a new stratosphere to be in, and it's very exciting. And all the time I'm running into people that are just like, well, but we want to be a part of what you're doing, or we want to help. Right. That's so exciting.
Definitely. Which brings me to like another thing that I don't think we've announced on any podcast or anything like that. High Level Games is running a convention next year.
Yeah.
Of all random things. Like when you talk about stratosphere stuff, like we started you started as a podcast without me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. You brought me on soon after. The blog was kind of like a way to support this, this podcast. And from there, in a little over a year, we've produced role-playing game materials. We've got multiple podcasts. We have this network. We have all this community. We are reaching out and helping other people. And next year, we're running a convention in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
In a major space, which I think people are going to be really excited to be at the Showboat Hotel, which is an amazing property. Right
October
on
2018.
October 12th through the 14th, people. High Level Games is taking ourselves to the next level, and we want to make sure that we're helping other people get to the next level. If that's through the different products we're creating, if that's through these podcasts that we're supporting, that we're creating on our own, like there's so many exciting things that I just want to like yell off the rooftops like every morning, like, hey people, cool stuff is happening here. And I try not to do that too much on social media because there's only so much yelling before people ignore you.
Right.
But it's definitely some fun stuff. So
I mean, even with HLG Con, the big thing that we're running into right now is that we're worried that people won't take the con seriously because we want vendors to come in, but we're just like, we want to help you. We want to make it be as cheap for you as possible. We just want a whole bunch of people to come together. The point of this con isn't to make a whole bunch of money. It's, we'd like to break even.
Right.
And we would certainly, but we want people to come, and we want to build this community. We want to meet more people, and we want to get you in front of more people. And the biggest problem we have is like, do you think they're going to buy it? Like, do you think they're going to think that we've got some, like, when they show up now, suddenly we're going to charge them an extra 200 or something?
Yeah, I think the opportunity to get people, the opportunity that we ran into with this space, and the opportunity to get gamers together to talk to one another and network and build a real community with each other, I think that's going to be so valuable.
Absolutely.
I get giddy thinking about it, and then I get really like nervous with all the logistics, and then I focus on trying to get those logistics done. But we are going to do it. I think there's so much cool stuff that we've already got that we're putting together that people are gonna. I'm not trying to tell you how you should feel, but people should be excited because I'm excited.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Now, that's what I feel about this. I mean, why don't you tell us about the HLG vision and about what you feel about
Yeah.
this whole project?
So high level games caught my attention because I was in this weird space where I was just leaving grad school. I think I was probably out of grad school like a month, maybe not even a couple of weeks, and I was like, you know what? I know that I want to get into developing, creating RPG stuff. And to do that, like a good way of doing so is writing material, like writing blog posts about role playing games. Um, so I'm going to do that. And then, oh, hey, this high level games thing is looking for writers. I can do that. Um, and then from there, uh, I saw a community and a vision that had so much potential. Like high level games was this nascent entity that I could clearly see was going to be something big. Like even from the beginning, I was like, wow, like this is going to be a major website. Like, and that was it. That was my first thought. Like, this is going to be a major website. Hey, I can see Quinn needs some help with editing. I love editing, which sounds nerdy as shit, but you know, I do like it's one of the things that I enjoy doing, and I enjoyed working with the editors and getting them to write good articles and getting them to think about cool article ideas and developing those like what sort of things can you write next that really build that level you up a little bit in your writing and your in your passion that you're bringing into this. And we exploded just as a blog like overnight. Like we went from a couple of hundred likes on the Facebook page to 700, 800, 900. Now we're like almost 1700 or over 1700, I think
Oversell,
now,
yeah.
likes on the Facebook page. And that's not huge in the grand scheme of life, but for a gaming blog with just over a year, that's pretty huge. That's a
Yeah.
huge impact with the amount of views that we've had, like all of that. Just from the blog standpoint, our words are in front of people's eyes.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Absolutely.
And
And not just
beyond
our
that,
words. I mean,
right, the
we
community's
we have
words.
a whole community of blog writers that we
Right.
are helping. We have an editorial team that helps them. If you want to write for high level games, just send us a note at hlgpodcast@gmail.com
Yep.
and we'll try to work with you. Right?
Yep. We have
Definitely.
guest bloggers all the time.
Guest bloggers all
Uh,
the time that come in, think they have an idea and want to write something. We have an editorial team that will work with you if you need some mentoring and some help with your writing. All kinds of stuff. We're about helping people get out there.
yeah. The awesome thing to me too is that we're always trying. We're pushing to do more within the smart bandwidth that we've got. We've got ideas. We want to create ways that are not just getting people's like skills up, but get them paid, things like that. We're creating ways to do that. And I think one of the awesome things was when we tossed around an idea of, hey, like, let's create a one-page adventure. We did it.
Mm-hmm.
And we now have 5 more in production, which production's been a little slower, but I think it's awesome. Like we've got,
But this is production, to be clear,
yeah,
of 5 first-time role-playing game product authors
exactly.
that have never produced a role-playing game product before.
Yep.
And we're putting together artwork and formatting and we're editing, we're play testing, and we're getting everything put together for them. And then we're going to produce it and they're going to make a little money on it.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Right.
And I mean, no one's retiring on this money at all. It's very little. As if anybody knows anything about the role-playing game industry, there's not a lot of money to go around, especially for small indie publications.
Right.
But we're trying to get their stuff out there, and then they can say, I'm a published role-playing game designer.
Exactly. And I can tell you, having one publication is the snowball to having multiple publications.
Yeah. You went from what?
I had one. I had Cat's Meow, and then I picked up a deal with another company, which I can talk about now. Fantastic Reality, which our adventures are in Kickstarter right now. If you look up, in Darkness Delve, that's what it's called. Is the Kickstarter of 5 adventures, and I wrote a almost 17,000 word adventure for that company. I got paid for it, and I got it because I'd been working on writing these blogs, and I had a Cat's Meow come out as a publication. And they said, cool, we like your work. We like the stuff you've done. Sure.
Yeah.
Come on board.
And now we've dropped 5 more Josh Heath products for Storyteller's Vault that are for the Vampire the Masquerade. They're 5 single adventures with all the tools a storyteller needs to run those adventures and make it easy. And they can be linked, those 5 can be linked together for a single chronicle. So, I mean, it is about producing things and getting people to unlock that potential. And I mean, I'm sure, Josh, you would have broken in and started writing stuff at some point. I'm sure of that. It's not high-level games that did that for you. But I'll say that it probably speeded up the process for you, right?
Yeah, and it was an environment that made me feel really supported. Like, not just with you, though Quinn's been an incredible source of support for me throughout, from the beginning, in a way that's been really empowering, and I'm really grateful for the friendship that we've developed over the time that we've known each other. But it's the entire crew. It's Joel. It's all of our writers. It's our editing staff who have passionate discussions. Sometimes I love our editing staff. Have passionate discussions about word usage or grammar, in a way that I would have laughed at not so long ago, but can look at it and go, and when I say, hey, here's an answer to your concern, and they go, no, we don't have a concern. We get your we already understood you guys were putting your foot down. We just wanted to talk this idea through, so that next time we have a better understanding of it. And I was like, I threw my hands up today when that discussion happened. I was like, that is amazing.
Yeah. What Josh is talking about is that we had some word usage happening that we wanted to, that we weren't sure about. And so I definitely communicated with the editorial staff that this is not the kind of word usage that I'm really comfortable with, and that we probably don't want to be doing it in the future. And then I gave a couple of examples of things. And the editorial staff took off and just started having this chat message conversation about the philosophical implications, about what kinds of things should be used for the blog in the future. And it was a beautiful thing. And that editorial team is a community within the community that is amazing. They're just fantastic.
Yeah. And I love the ability of watching people talk passionately to one another and not walk away angry at each other.
Right.
Either. Have a really passionate discussion and then say, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Exactly.
I love that. And just seeing that be built with high-level games has been amazing. I'm going to totally switch gears because I just thought of something that I wanted to talk about with leveling up, though.
Okay.
One of the coolest things I think we did in season 1 that I wanted to highlight again was we talked to Alina Pete, who is awesome. She runs the webcomic Where Geek. She is a creator. She's created something for The Strange.
Strange, right?
Yep.
One of the recursions. Yep.
Which is an amazing product. And I've seen people share our podcasts with her. Whenever someone's talking about Native American representation in RPGs, they're like, hey, this podcast happened, this discussion happened. I think it was a really good discussion. I think you should listen to it. I've now seen about half a dozen people do that in conversations where I'm not involved. I don't even know who these people are, and I'm really happy about that.
Right.
Like, I'm happy to give the opportunity for a discussion that not a lot of people have heard before, and to see that have what I hope is a strong impact on the RPG community.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I just wanted to say that and say that, like, that's awesome. It's awesome to see the words of someone you have a lot of respect for, and I have a ton of respect for Alina, to see our conversation with her affect people's thinking, and enough for them to say, hey, you should listen to this to other people. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And I loved that episode I as well.
We're just saying we like that episode. Yeah. So what are the
So
questions
what
you
about
saw
the
there?
future of HLG?
Oh,
Um, I
we
think
talked a
it
little bit
was
about that.
one of the questions. I mean, the future HLG Con, right?
Yeah.
That's a big thing that's kind of hanging over things with development. Part of what we're looking at doing, we're working out contract issues right now, is we would like to do more consulting. So we know of at least a couple of people who have like 90% of a role-playing game, but they're not ready to put it out there. It's just not quite there yet, right? And so what we've offered to do is we've said, you know, if you put up a little bit of money, I mean, we're not going to make anything really on this, but I know an editor, and we can probably get it out to playtest, and I know a formatting person, and I know artists, and we can probably get this up and running for you. And then when you're ready to sell it, we're happy to sell it through our online marketplace, and as well as on drivethroughrpg.com, as well as we'll market it for you. And so that we've definitely been contacted by a few people to do that consulting work. The podcast affiliates are coming to us, and they're reaching out to us, and they want to be a part of our community. And so with each one of them, I sit down and I have a Google Hangouts conversation with them, and they ask a million questions, and we talk about the vision of high level games, and it's like, is this something you want to be a part of? We're looking at larger role-playing game projects in the future, couple of pet projects of ours, as well as some lighter fare. We are, you know, the one pagers that we've been producing are fun. We might do more of that in the future, depending on if we lose our shirts doing these ones.
Right.
Definitely, we're going to see more and more of that. Further, we're going to be doing more Twitch streaming. We're going to be producing more content onto the YouTube channel. We want High Level Games to be one-stop shopping for all of your new media, tabletop role-playing game stuff. And we want everyone involved to be helping everybody. There's not a no cost to be a part of this community. The cost is that you come in and we'll give you all the help we can. But one day we're probably somebody's going to need your help, and we'd love you to step up in that moment. And the future of that is to grow that community.
And I've been really impressed always with how many people have stepped up along the way. And we've said, hey, like, do you have the ability to do X, Y, and Z? And they're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll throw my hat into that. Like, the amount of people that have just stepped up and said, yeah, like, I'm up for it, that's really impressed me. Like, it's I don't even know the right word for it. You know, it's heartening to just see, like, people want to help each other and want to build the whole community up, which has been empowering.
Yeah, I've been so impressed. And I mean, I just dig the people that we're in, right? And I mean, I'm the weirdest kind of people person. I love building communities and getting to know people, and then leave me alone.
Right.
Um, I'm kind of a homebody. I'm a little bit of a extroverted introvert or something. But it has been amazing getting to know people. I am so excited for the future.
Mhm.
I'm so excited. I mean, I will hope that high level games, right now, high level games is coming out of our pockets,
Yep.
right? And that we make doing our day jobs. And I hope one day we get to a point where it kind of breaks even. That would be very nice.
Yep.
I don't really, I don't want to give the wrong impression. I don't care as much that we make money doing this, right? The vision is to create the community.
Mhm.
I want people that are producing stuff to be able to make some money. I want the community to continue to grow. Um, and I just want to figure out a way to do it so that we can continue to be attractive for people that are starting out.
Yep.
What I don't want to do is get so big for our britches that we no longer look at the first time author that wants to produce a thing for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. And that it's those people, the people that have an idea for a blog post, the people that are like, I kind of want to do a podcast, the people that are, I have an idea for an adventure, and if I could only get some help with X, I could do it. Like those people, that's who high level games is for.
Yeah.
And I mean, once you do that, and if you become famous, like stick around and help us out and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Which would be nice. That.
it would be nice. But that's who it's for.
Yeah.
And I
And
think that we can be better people by doing it. I think the community can be better by doing it. I think that we can all level up.
yep. Okay. Good night, everybody. Quinn just
I
said
think
the ending words.
yeah, well, I think that there's not a lot more for us to say. I want to welcome Nerd Mantle to the podcast affiliate network. I want to big shout out to all the blog writers and the guest bloggers that have come in and worked with us over the last little while. I want to congratulate Josh on his promotion from blog manager to chief operations officer here at High Level Games. I want to congratulate Dave on his promotion from editor to blog manager, and Jim from his promotion from columnist to editor. As well, I think Angela is also now our, what was the title?
Chief events organizer.
Chief events organizer. She's helping us with HLG Con. She's our resident con expert. T Money, who's become our chief financial officer.
Oh my word. Tamara. Her name is Tamara.
She answers to T Money.
Sorry.
I there's been a lot of exciting things that have happened, and the future looks bright. And this season of Leveling Up is going to be incredible. And I just want to invite everyone to be part of the journey. If you're a listener, if you're a fan, if you're a reader, if you're somebody that watches this, or if you want to get involved, hlgpodcast@gmail.com. All of our social media, we monitor very closely. Reach out to us and let's have a chat.
Yeah.
We want to help. And we
Absolutely.
actually do. We're not trying to rip you off.
I want to just highlight in particular the thing that I love helping is someone messaging us and saying, I've got an idea for a blog. And I say, okay, well, do you want to be a regular blogger, or you just have one idea? And I love when someone's like, no, I have one solid idea that I
Right.
really want to write about. And then I sneakily convince that person to be a regular columnist after they're like, I've been writing like 3 articles like a week that would be cool for your site. And I'm like, oh, hey,
Don't give away all
you're a
your
regular
tricks.
columnist now. The awesome thing is seeing someone come up with an idea and be right almost there where it's a great article and helping them tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing something as lame as sentence structure and saying, if you write this sentence this way, it's a lot more powerful.
Right.
It says what you want to say in a way that's going to get people's emotions moving rather than their minds trying to understand what it is you're saying.
Right.
I love that. And I love seeing that process come alive. So if there are really, truly, if you want to write an article for us, if you want to do an article swap, I've just finished an article for Nerdolopedia that is going to be running my article. We're going to be running their article. We are happy to do those things because we want to support other geeks and other gamers that are doing these things. Any way we can do that, we're on board to do so.
Yeah. And I mean, we're happy to help any way we can. I mean, there are certainly limits to what we can do. We're not the be all and end all. We're still starting out as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
But we obviously have a community and we'd love to help you as much as we can.
Yep.
Right? I think that we're ready to wrap up. I want to wrap up with a way we always wrap up by talking about the books that we're reading. Now, of course, the Star Trek Adventures book and the Cipher Rule System book both have been a big part of my reading for the last little while. But I also finished Myth of the Maker.
Oh, cool.
Now, this is by Bruce Cordell, who is a writer for Monty Cook Games, and he is the designer and writer for The Strange. And this is a strange book, or the strange book, that kind of provides the genesis for the idea of the strange. It's an easy read. It's a compelling read. It was fun to read. I really enjoyed it. It's worth checking out. I got it as a Kickstarter, but I think you can get it on montycookgames.com. And for all ages, my 11-year-old daughter, we were camping, and I think we ran out of things to read, and she's a big reader. She stole it from me at the end, and she finished reading it, so she really enjoyed it too.
Nice.
What are you reading?
Well, I'm just going to scan this for a second. This is the bookshelf that I lean against while we're doing these things. I finished all but 7 of these books.
Wow.
I'm very, very happy. I've gotten so close to reading every single RPG book I own, which is no small feat. Over this year, I have bought 218 books, which is ridiculous. Please don't, buy that many books in a year.
No, I'm going to use you now next time my wife is complaining about how many books I buy, because that's slightly more than I have.
But I want to highlight this book in particular.
Ooh, you bought that at Gen Con.
I only bought 2 books at Gen Con. I bought the Doctor Who role-playing game, and I bought the Silurian expansion for it. It's by Cubicle 7. It's officially BBC licensed. It's a fast, light game that feels like Doctor Who.
That's amazing.
I am probably not going to play it, but I love having the books. Because at some point, I'm going to get a group of Whovians in a room together. I'm going to say, let's play Doctor Who. And they're going to be like, oh, what? And I'm going to be like, you can make characters in 10 minutes. We're going to play Doctor Who. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm in.
Cool.
All right. So thanks, everyone, for coming by. We lost Joel again. Thanks, everyone, for coming by and checking this out on the live stream. And it'll be up on the YouTube channel, and it'll be out on our podcast, both on iTunes and the Google Play Store shortly. And check us out on Storyteller's Vault.
Oh, yes.
You can search Josh Heath, Heath, and all 5 of his products should be coming up, as well as you can check us out, High Level Games, at rpgdrivethrough.com and see another one of his products, as well as check us out at highlevelgames.ca for the blog posts, and check us out on Patreon. If you could support us, every dime that goes into that Patreon is paid out to are blog writers. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we do for blog writers is we save up the Patreon money until we have enough so we can pay every blog writer in a particular month for the content they do. So not every month gets paid, but if you keep writing, some months will be paid. And the rest of the months we just work to develop you as an author. So every dime you go that goes to the Patreon goes to supporting the mission of High Level Games and supporting that community and supporting these authors. So patreon.com/high level is where you can find us. All right, Josh, any outro stuff?
No, I think that was fantastic. And I think I just want to say, in three, two, one, let's level
Let's
up.
level up. Oh, that was our best one so far.
Yeah, we did pretty well. All right, everyone. Thanks for
Okay,
listening.
bye-bye.